brave soul who carries in your chest a silent question, an unrest that echoes in the early hours when the world sleeps and you remain awake, contemplating your own journey. Today, through this message that comes from the highest spiritual plane, Archangel Gabriel whispers truths that your heart already intuited, but perhaps you still didn't have the courage to fully acknowledge. There are women who walk through this world with a serenity that confuses, with a solitude that is not empty, but filled with purpose. Women who chose to live without a companion by their side, not for lack of options or poorly healed wounds, but for a reason much deeper, much more sacred than external eyes can perceive. And if you are one of these women, or if you know someone like this, know that this message carries the golden light of understanding, the divine balm that soothes the heart that has been misunderstood for so long. Archangel Gabriel, messenger of divine truth, guardian of the deepest spiritual awakening processes, reveals today through this channeling something that will forever transform the way you see this apparently solitary choice. Because it's not about loneliness, dear soul. It's about something much more revolutionary, much more powerful. It's about a woman who finally found her way back to herself. The sacred presence that surrounds us now is not coincidental. You were guided to this message because your soul is ready to receive a truth that will liberate you from years of questioning, years of feeling like you don't fit the mold that society insists on imposing. Today, the veil is lifted, and what seemed like a burden reveals itself as the greatest blessing of your spiritual journey. I know you've already felt the weight of questioning looks, of invasive questions disguised as concern. Why is a woman like you alone? Don't you want a family? Aren't you afraid of growing old with no one by your side? These words penetrated your skin like thorns, leaving an invisible mark that sometimes still pulses in silence, especially on nights of greatest vulnerability. Your heart knows the subtle but constant pressure of a society that still doesn't understand that a woman can be complete without needing to be someone's half. You've already experienced that strange sensation of being in an environment full of couples and feeling as if there was something wrong with you, as if your singular presence was an uncomfortable reminder that not everyone follows the traditional script of happily ever after. There were moments, confess, when you doubted yourself. Moments when loneliness weighed so heavily that you almost accepted any company, any relationship that would alleviate that feeling of swimming against the current. You've caught yourself analyzing every flaw of yours, every characteristic that could be adjusted to become more palatable, more easy to love. The world whispered in your ears that maybe you were too demanding, too difficult, too independent. But something inside your chest, a voice almost imperceptible but persistent, kept saying no, that there was something more, that this apparently solitary journey hid a treasure that few had the courage to discover. And today, through angelic wisdom, you will finally understand that this voice was your soul whispering truths that your mind wasn't yet ready to accept. The pain of being misunderstood runs deeper than surface judgments. It's the pain of carrying a truth that the world isn't ready to see, of being a pioneer in a territory that most people fear to explore. It's the ache of knowing you're different, not because something is wrong with you, but because something is incredibly right. And that rightness threatens everything society believes about women and their supposed incompleteness without a man. Archangel Gabriel reveals a truth that will transform your perspective forever. Women who choose to live alone are not lost souls or wounded hearts who gave up on love. They are spiritual pioneers, trailblazers of a new paradigm of relationship with themselves and with the sacred feminine that inhabits every cell of their being. From the spiritual plane, we observe these women with reverence because they carry within themselves a rare evolutionary code. They are the guardians of an ancestral wisdom that was silenced for centuries, the ability to complete themselves through connection with their own divine essence. Every woman who makes this conscious choice is actually healing millennial patterns of emotional dependency that were transmitted from generation to generation. The angels whisper that these women went through a process of deep spiritual alchemy. They descended into the depths of their emotional shadows, faced the dragons of abandonment, rejection, the feeling of not being enough, and emerged from this journey transformed. They are not women who fled from love. They are women who learned to distinguish true love from desperate attachment, authentic presence from empty company. Gabriel reveals that each such woman carries in her energetic field a specific frequency, a vibration that attracts only what is aligned with her spiritual evolution. That's why superficial relationships, connections based on neediness, or power dynamics simply cannot sustain themselves in her presence. Not by rejection, but by natural vibrational incompatibility. These women have become living temples of self-love, and temples can only be inhabited by the sacred. They don't reject company. They honor an energetic standard that demands reciprocity, depth, emotional maturity. And until this frequency is found in another being, they remain in communion with themselves, nourishing themselves from the inexhaustible source of love they discovered within their own hearts. From the celestial realms, we witness these women as embodiments of the divine feminine in its most evolved form. They are the ones who broke the ancient spell that convinced women they needed external validation to exist fully. They are the code breakers, the pattern interrupters, the ones who dared to ask, "What if I am already whole?" Look back, dear soul, and see the path you've traveled. See how many times you diminished yourself to fit into relationships too small for your expansive soul. How many times you silenced your inner voice so as not to bother. How many parts of yourself you hid to be accepted, loved, chosen. Now, feel the difference. Feel what it's like to breathe without needing to compress your lungs. What it's like to exist without needing to edit your essence. You may not realize it, but there's a strength pulsing in your veins. A dignity that rose from the ashes of every relationship that didn't honor your greatness. Every no you said to situations that didn't nourish you was a yes to your own soul. Every time you chose to be alone instead of poorly accompanied, you were choosing your own sanity, your own integrity. Recognize the courage in your choice. In a culture that still sells the idea that a woman is only complete beside someone, you dared to question this narrative. You had the audacity to ask, "What if I am enough? What if I can be happy with myself?" And you didn't just ask. You lived this possibility. You embodied it. Feel the peace that inhabits your home when you arrive. That silence that is not empty, but full of your own presence. The way you arrange things your way. Eat what you want to eat. Watch what you want to watch. Sleep and wake up in your natural rhythm. This isn't selfishness. This is self-knowledge in action. This is a woman who learned to honor herself. There's a wisdom in your eyes that didn't exist before, a clarity born from the tears you shed alone and the laughter you gave to yourself. You became your own best company, and this is a spiritual achievement that few understand, but that resonates deeply on the divine plane. Look at how your intuition has sharpened, how your ability to discern authentic connections from superficial ones has become laser precise. You can sense from miles away when someone approaches you from neediness rather than wholeness, when someone wants to take rather than give, when someone sees you as a project to fix rather than a masterpiece to appreciate. I am Gabriel, Archangel of purification and divine truth, and I come through this message to honor every woman who had the courage to choose sacred solitude instead of empty company. Listen to me, daughters of light, because your souls chose before incarnating a path of spiritual pioneering that not all have the strength to walk. You are not women who gave up on love. You are women who raised the standard of what it means to love and be loved. You broke invisible chains that imprisoned the feminine for millennia. Chains that whispered that a woman without a man is an incomplete woman. You proved that this is an illusion, a lie that kept half of humanity in desperate search for external validation. Every morning you wake up in peace with yourselves. Every decision you make based on your own inner wisdom. Every moment you choose your own company, You are rewriting the emotional DNA of future generations. You are showing your daughters, nieces, friends that it's possible to be whole by yourself. Make no mistake, love will come to you, but it will be a different love. It will be a love that won't need to save you, because you've already saved yourselves. A love that won't need to complete you, because you're already complete. It will be a love of celebration, not necessity. A love that will find you as equals, not as needy beings. And when this love arrives, you will recognize it immediately, because it won't try to mold you, won't try to make you small, won't try to be the center of your lives. It will simply fit into the beautiful life you've already built, like a piece that was always destined to be there, but was never essential for the puzzle to make sense. Until that day comes, continue being beacons of possibility. Continue showing the world that a woman alone is not a lost woman. She is a found woman. Continue being temples of self-love, altars of self-dignity, sanctuaries of inner peace. I, Gabriel, bless each one of you with the certainty that you are on the right path, that your solitude is sacred, that your choice is divine. You are the healers of ancient wounds, the breakers of generational patterns, the pioneers of a new earth where wholeness is not found in another, but remembered within oneself. If this message touched your heart in a way you can't even explain in words, if something inside your chest expanded and breathed, relieved hearing these truths, write in the comments, "I honor my sacred journey." Let the angels feel your presence. Let your energy mix with the energy of other women who, like you, chose the path of inner completeness. And if you know a woman who needs to hear this message, who has been judged for her choice to live alone, share this video with her. Sometimes, a single word of understanding can heal years of misunderstanding. Sometimes, knowing we're not alone in our uniqueness is all we need to continue our journey with an open heart and raised head. Your comment is not just words. It's a declaration of independence from old patterns. It's your soul saying yes to its own truth. When you write those words, you're joining an invisible sisterhood of women who chose authenticity over approval, wholeness over half-love, sacred solitude over desperate company. The angels want you to understand that your apparent solitude is actually a deep communion with divine aspects of yourself that many people never get to know. While the world rushes on the surface of relationships based on need, you dove into the depths of a relationship with yourself that is the foundation of all genuine happiness. Every pain you faced alone strengthened emotional muscles you didn't even know existed. Every tear shed in the silence of your room watered seeds of wisdom that today bloom in clarity, discernment, self-compassion. You're not alone because you couldn't maintain a relationship. You're alone because you learned it's better to be alone than poorly accompanied. The spiritual plane celebrates every woman who makes this conscious choice, because they are healing not only their own wounds, but the ancestral wounds of all women who came before and who lost themselves in the desperate search for male approval. You are the healers, the cycle breakers, the pioneers of a new relationship paradigm. And know that, energetically, you are not alone. There's an invisible network of spiritual support around every woman who makes this choice. Angels, guides, illuminated ancestors, all forming a circle of protection and encouragement. Every time you doubt, every time loneliness weighs heavy, breathe deeply and feel this loving presence that surrounds you. Your choice reverberates through dimensions, inspiring other souls who are still trapped in patterns of codependency to question their own limitations. You are living proof that happiness doesn't require another person's presence. It requires your own presence, your own love, your own acceptance of who you truly are. The future that unfolds before you is golden like the sunrise after the darkest night. You may not see it yet, but there's a transformation happening in you every day. Your energy is refining, your vibration is rising, your ability to attract situations and people aligned with your evolution is expanding exponentially. Imagine yourself a few months or years from now, looking back and clearly seeing how each period of solitude was necessary for your transformation. How each relationship that didn't work out was a divine redirection, a no from the universe to something too small for your greatness. How each moment of doubt was an opportunity to strengthen your faith in yourself. You are preparing, even without knowing it, for a form of love that few experience in this lifetime. A conscious, mature love based on choice and not need. A love that will find you not as a woman who needs to be saved, but as a queen who is ready to share her kingdom with a king equally crowned by his own journey of self-knowledge. And until that love arrives, you will continue flourishing. You will continue discovering facets of yourself you didn't even know existed. You will continue surprising yourself with your own strength, with your ability to be happy with your own company, with the depth of love you managed to cultivate for yourself. The future whispers, promises of abundance, fulfillment, deep connections that will honor who you've become. Promises of a love that will come not to fill a void, but to celebrate a fullness. And you will be ready, because you will have spent years preparing not to be loved, but to know how to truly love. Picture yourself walking into rooms with such centered energy that conversations shift, hearts open, and people feel inexplicably drawn to your peaceful presence. This is what wholeness looks like. It doesn't demand attention. It naturally receives it because it radiates something everyone is unconsciously seeking. If this message resonated in your soul like a bell that had long been waiting to ring, leave a comment sharing how you felt. Your experience might be exactly what another woman needs to hear to validate her own journey. We are here to support each other, to remind one another of our strength when we forget it. Subscribe to this channel if you want to continue receiving messages that honor your spiritual journey, that recognize your strength, that celebrate your conscious choices. Here, you will always find a safe space for your soul to breathe, for your truth to be seen, for your uniqueness to be celebrated. And remember, sharing this message could be the most precious gift you give to a woman who is questioning her choices, who is feeling strange for not fitting the traditional mold. Sometimes, a single message can change an entire life. Until the next video, dear soul. May the angels continue guiding you. May Gabriel continue whispering in your ears the truth of your magnificence. And may you never forget, a woman who chooses herself is never alone. She is in the company of her own divinity. So it is, and so it shall be. Amen.